Ever found yourself scrolling through political debates, news clips, or maybe even local council meetings, and you hear a name, a voice, a figure, and you think, wait, where exactly do they fit into all of this? Today, we're diving into that very question with a name that might have popped up on your radar, Roger Bank. Specifically, we're asking, where does Roger Bank represent? It's a question that, on the surface, seems straightforward. A name, a place, a political affiliation, a simple connection. But in the intricate tapestry of modern representation, it's rarely that simple. We're living in an era where representation isn't just about geographical boundaries. It's about ideologies, demographics, and the ever-shifting landscape of public service. Think about it. We're bombarded with information, with political figures and talking heads, all vying for our attention. We see the sound bites, the headlines, the carefully crafted images. But how often do we actually stop and ask, who is this person, and what do they truly stand for? The answer, in the case of Roger Bank, requires us to peel back some layers. It's not just about pointing to a map and saying, he represents this district. It's about understanding the context, the history, and the forces that shape his role. To begin, we need to consider the nature of representation itself. What does it mean to represent a group of people? Is it simply about echoing their views, or is it about advocating for their interests, even when those interests might diverge from popular opinion? Is it about being a spokesperson, a policymaker, or a community leader? And then there's the question of the level of representation. Are we talking about local government, regional bodies, national parliament, or even international organizations? The scope of representation dramatically impacts the issues at stake and the responsibilities involved. Now, let's bring Roger Bank into the picture. To understand where he represents, we need to delve into his background. Is he a career politician, or does he come from a different field? What are his core values and beliefs? What are the key issues that he champions? Often, the answer to where lies in the what. What issues does Roger Bank focus on? Is he concerned with economic development, environmental protection, social justice, or perhaps a combination of these? The issues he prioritizes can reveal the communities he serves and the interests he represents. For instance, if Roger Bank is heavily involved in advocating for rural broadband access, it suggests that he represents communities in areas where digital infrastructure is lacking. If he's a vocal supporter of local small businesses, it implies a strong connection to a specific economic sector or region. Consider the role of political affiliation. Does Roger Bank belong to a particular political party? If so, that affiliation provides a framework for understanding his political positions and the constituencies he represents. Political parties often have clearly defined platforms and target specific demographics. However, it's also important to remember that representation can transcend party lines. Sometimes, a representative's actions and advocacy speak louder than their political label. They might build coalitions with individuals from different parties, working together on issues that affect a broad range of people. Let's also explore the evolving nature of representation in the digital age. Social media, online forums, and digital communication tools have transformed the way representatives interact with their constituents. They can now engage in real-time conversations, gather feedback, and disseminate information to a wider audience. This has blurred the lines of traditional representation. A representative's influence might extend beyond their geographical boundaries, reaching individuals who are connected through shared interests or online communities. Think about the concept of virtual representation. Does Roger Bank have a strong online presence? Does he engage with his constituents on social media? Does he use digital platforms to gather feedback and address concerns? These factors can provide insights into the scope of his representation. And let's not forget the importance of community engagement. How active is Roger Bank in his community? Does he attend local events, participate in town hall meetings, and collaborate with community organizations? These interactions are crucial for understanding the grassroots level of his representation. The idea of representation also encompasses the concept of diversity and inclusion. Does Roger Bank represent a diverse community? Does he advocate for the interests of marginalized groups? Does he strive to ensure that all voices are heard? In a world where representation is often contested and debated, it's essential to critically examine the claims and actions of those who hold positions of power. We need to look beyond the surface and delve into the complexities of their roles. To truly understand where Roger Bank represents, we need to consider the following. Geographical boundaries. What are the physical boundaries of his constituency? Political affiliation. What party does he belong to, and what are its core values? Key issues. What are the primary issues that he focuses on? Community engagement. How active is he in his community? Demographic representation. Does he represent a diverse community? Digital presence. How does he engage with constituents online? Historical context. What are the historical factors that shape his role? Personal background. What are his values and experiences? Impact and influence. What actions and policies define his representation? By examining these factors, we can gain a more nuanced understanding of where Roger Bank represents. It's not just about a place on a map. It's about the complex interplay of factors that shape his role as a representative. The answer to this question, in its most complete form, is a dynamic and evolving portrait. It's a reflection of the changing nature of representation in our world. It's a story that unfolds through his actions, his words, and his interactions with the people he serves. So, when you encounter a name like Roger Bank or any other representative, take a moment to ask yourself, where do they truly represent? And what does that representation mean in the broader context of our society? With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.